From the glossary. Atmic body and atmic plane. The atmic plane, the sixth of the seven major planes of reality upon which all human beings function. The atmic plane is the higher frequency octave of the mental plane and is the plane of your true higher self. On the atmic plane of reality, the entire cosmos is experienced as a living mind whose primary impulse is love. When you cross the threshold to this plane through the sixth initiation, all your independent thinking immediately ceases and is replaced by pure light. To contact your greater being on the atmic plane, all you have to do is focus consistently and intently on this inner light. The ancients call this Atman, the Atma, the limitless light. The atmic body, the sixth major subtle layer of your aura corresponding to the atmic plane and the Christ consciousness. Your atmic body, which manifests through the 64 siddhis, is so vast that it defies comprehension. To enter fully into this body, your identification with the lower bodies, physical, emotional, that's the astral, and mental, must be severed completely. When this happens, your cycle of incarnations will come to an end. The atmic body creates an increasing pressure on your lower nature as its light gradually filters down to illuminate the lower three bodies, resulting in a magnificent phenomenon known as the dawning of the rainbow body. Over time, this leads to a complete restructuring of your life as the inner light of the atmic plane dawns inside you, culminating in your full embodiment of divinity. So, what to say about all of that? It is, of course, the higher essence of the Gene Keys transmission. Now, this is all coming from the limitless light. This is all coming from the wordless dimension. Truth comes from the wordless dimension. That which lies beyond words, that which is just even beyond the concept of light. This term talks a lot about light, the inner light, and the breaking of the connection, the snapping of the connection with the lower trinity, with the lower three bodies, with the physical, emotional, and mental. It's not that you become non-human through that. You retain that humanity, but something inside you snaps, something transcends in order for you to be able to fully inhabit the atmic body and to fully inhabit the atmic plane, which pervades all planes. You know, this is the light of the Christ consciousness. This is an incredibly high state of consciousness for a human being to even contemplate. But by contemplating the very highest like this, you know, that's what gives us this is what the 64 siddhis are, you know, they're all manifestations of the atmic plane in humans, through the human frequency field. You know, and so it's the very highest that we can ascend to. The monadic plane, which is the seventh, and it brings everything, it synthesizes everything. It kind of brings heaven to earth. But the atmic is the highest peak we have to attain, you know, before we give it all up in some way. So this is also the plane of the divine mind. You know, when we talk about the mind and the mental plane, the atmic relates in the, you know, it's the third to the third in the lower trinity, and there's the third in the higher trinity, so they directly relate. And the way in which our thoughts work, you know, behind every thought is this light. You know, even negative thoughts, difficult, painful thoughts, is this light hidden. And so the atmic plane is the mental plane of grace, where, you know, the divine mind is experienced. You no longer think you are thought. You become a thought. Everything in this cosmos is mind, is manas, is this divine breath of the thoughts of the one, the thoughts of the unity, the thoughts of God. We are those thoughts. So at this level of frequency, thought and us are no longer separate. Everything is seen and understood as a thought, as a higher thought. And the universe, the cosmos, is one thought, eternal, changing, evolving, but also not changing at all, just limitless, beyond thought. This is where mind, the ancients and the masters speak of the no mind, going beyond mind into the thoughtless realm. And that's beyond the intellect, beyond the opposites. This is what the Atmic plane is. This is what the Atmic body is. When you inhabit that Atmic body, you inhabit the universal body, the cosmic body, the body of Christ.